Hi, everyone. Kristen Hudson, Marketing Director and Development Assistant for the Columbus Symphony Orchestra here. And welcome to another episode of Tune In with the CSO, where you're going to get to learn a little bit more about the musicians in our orchestra, as well as to hear some beautiful music. Well, welcome everyone. We are so excited to have CSO violinist Tian Sue Watson here with us today. Thank you so much, Tian, for being here.
Hi, Kristen. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're so excited to have you. Now, like I said, you're a violinist for the Columbus Symphony. How long have you been playing the violin, and just in general? And then how long have you been playing with the symphony?
So I started playing the violin at the age of 6. So my math is kind of so it's been 25, 27 years. Yeah, it's a long time. And I started joining the CSO when I went to school at the Schwab School of Music back in 2011. And I was playing the CSO for about 2 years. And I went up to New York State for my graduate school. And I came back here and I rejoined the CSO. And so total about 5 years with CSO so far. So I did my master's in Rochester, Eastman School of Music for 2 years. And that was after the 2 years artist diploma that I did at Schwab. So, and then before that, I went to Bard Conservatory of Music. It's also in New York State for my undergraduate.
And were those music degrees, were they performance-based on the violin?
Yeah. Actually, the Bard College Conservatory of Music, where I got my undergrad from, I did like a double major. So one is in violin performance, and the other one I did in Asian studies, and I focused on some kind of religious painting images.
Wow.
It's called it's a religion in the north part of China. Yeah, it's a very old type of religion.
How interesting.
So everybody in that conservatory, we had to do 2 degrees instead. In order to get the scholarships. So yeah, you have a wide choice. You can do math as a second major. You can do language, or anything you can think of.
Wow, that is so cool. So you
Yeah.
had went through the scholarship program to pick that second major and have
Right.
really diverse education. That's
Right.
really exciting.
Exactly. Yeah, that was exactly what I wanted at the time. So
Yeah.
I chose it. Yeah.
And then what drew you to that second major? Was it, historical for you, or, what about that was so appealing?
Well, first of all, I am an Asian. Right? I'm from China, and since my childhood, I was so interested in uh, ancient Asian stuff.
Yes.
I love to watch those ancient dressed soap opera movies. I love that. Like those martial art stuff, all those kind of things from the past. I love that. And also I loved anything that relates to painting, images, visual arts. I love that kind of thing. So I kind of combined these two and decided, that's the second major. Wow.
That's great. Now, do you paint? Do you do any visual arts yourself?
I actually did. When I had more time before, before I went to those all these masters or artist diploma for my violin performances, I had more time, so I actually did. And I did some watercolor or oil, that kind of things. And because of my dad, my father painted before.
Oh, that's
He used to be so I got that gene from him. Just a little.
passed down.
Yeah, but like that.
So you've got that sort of a very well-rounded artistic background, really. I mean, you can play violin, you're musical, you can paint. That's really cool. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I really got it from my father because he is just multi-talented.
Does he play music as well?
Yeah, he used to play erhu. It's a traditional Chinese instrument, string instrument. It got two strings, and it's just like the violin in the Western classical instrument family. You know, it's a string instrument, and erhu is the same in the Chinese traditional instrument family. That's like the equivalent. So he played it when he was very little, and he won all kinds of competitions in that region, and you know, the town, city, everything. And later on, he started singing. He was a
Really?
tenor. Yeah, he was a tenor, and he always sang so many beautiful songs. Some Italian songs, some Russian songs, and some Chinese songs. After getting back home from work, he got spare time. Then he was just started to sing, and you know, they played some old type of tape. So it was quite a wonderful memory to me.
Absolutely. Well, and having that sort of just artistic um, variety, growing up from him playing instruments to singing to painting to, what a
Yeah,
special, thing to share with your.
right. My dad, well, he passed away like 10 some years ago.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry to hear
he's
that.
no longer with. Yeah, this is very sad, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's very sad. And he not only like he's multi-talented and
Mhm.
everything, but always told me, you know, those different types of arts, they all relate to each other.
Right.
And you know, no matter what kind of art you're doing, it can be music, it can be painting, it can be poem, it can be singing, dancing, all these things.
Yeah.
They're all well related. Oh, you know, after my dad passed away, I was able to publish a painting album for him.
Really?
Um, yeah, for him. And here it is. And you can see how much he loved music. 'Cause
Oh,
on the cover page, here's the violin,
how
and that's
lovely.
that's only one of those paintings with violin that he did.
Wow, that is beautiful.
And you can see like when you ask me if I painted, and I
Yeah.
said yes, and yes, this
Oh
one,
my gosh. Wow, how beautiful is that?
yeah, this one actually I painted in watercolor, and then my dad he copied into the oil painting.
Oh, you're
This is what he did, and the original painting is very big. And this is I named it. You can see here. It's Symphony One.
oh, wow.
So I painted while I was listening to, I think it's Shostakovich number 7, maybe number 7
Oh,
symphony.
that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah, I know,
good
right?
inspiration.
That's one of my favorite symphonies. And I was listening to it, and I got an image in my mind.
Yeah,
And watercolor is the easiest to grab, so I just grabbed some
grab
color
a
and
wet
water,
inspiration.
started to paint, and there I was.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can see there are lots of interactions between my dad and me. There was, on these art art related activities.
What about the violin in particular do you like? Like, what is it about the violin that really drew you in?
Violin is a string instrument. To me, string instrument, especially violin, it's so close to the human voice.
Mm,
Just like singing. like opera, Italian opera, that kind of things. So it's a kind of very classical voice sound to me. And this is the biggest thing that I love about violin. And, in the daily practice, and, I can do my best to get closer and closer to what's in me, like my own voice.
Yeah, your own
Uh,
personal sound, your own personal.
exactly. That's the greatest thing.
Oh, well, that's beautiful. Now, do you have a favorite CSO performance that you had, or any guest artists in particular that you've really enjoyed working with throughout the last several years?
Well, I mean, all the CSO concerts were just so fantastic. I really enjoyed playing there. Um, I would like to mention one that I remember the most, which is very touching for me, which is Barber's Adagio for Strings. I forget, maybe it's 2 seasons ago or 1 season ago. And it's still like in my head sometimes, because since the very first rehearsal on Thursday night and Friday and Saturday, and we were getting better and better, and to the performance, the point of the performance, I was just so touched.
Yes.
I was kind of crying,
Mhm.
and
Well, it's
you
such
know,
a moving
when,
piece already,
exactly,
and the way you guys had really connected in playing it was something so special on that concert.
yeah,
It was beautiful.
exactly, and all the string sound, violin, viola, cello, double bass merged together. Oh my gosh, that's just so powerful.
Absolutely.
That's a wild time. He's so excited to see you, Kristen.
Oh, well, I'm so excited to see him. I bet you guys have been cooped up.
you know, he is really a stage person.
Really?
Like, yeah, whenever there's a camera or whenever he knows that some people are looking at, watching him,
Then
he
he's
will be super excited.
oh my,
Yeah, he wants to stay on stage and wants to be under the light.
he's got
You
that
know,
showmanship already.
so now we've called him out. So I'm afraid it's never gonna end now. It's gonna go
I
up.
love it though. I love it. Now I know
Yeah,
he's kind of musical already. 'Cause we had at the instrument petting zoo, our
yay!
last ones where he was playing it was the cello, the drums. I mean, he was picking it up and just go trombone.
Yeah, yeah. He's not afraid of trying out new things, right?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah,
So
and so right now when he is growing older a little bit,
yeah,
we sing a lot with him. Um, I mean, we started singing to him when he was born first day.
yeah.
But later on we're singing, and gradually he could repeat all these
Right.
songs. At least like all the words
Mhm.
and the general rhythms, the pitch probably not so much.
Yeah. But that'll,
Um, but
that's-
he got the idea. You
yeah.
know, like yeah, we've been singing like the Do Re Mi from Sound of Music.
Yes.
I just want to get him the idea of Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti, and now he can sing the whole song.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it really took a while, but it's
Yeah.
like kind of accumulating,
Mhm.
and like he didn't want to repeat the whole thing until he knew he was able to do it.
Right.
So
Right.
he didn't have any response for quite a long time. It was just me singing,
Yeah. And once
and
that repetition kicked in, it was like, okay, I can
exactly,
do this.
yeah, like all of a sudden one day, all of a sudden he started to say do, a dear, a female, like in his own like dialect, a little bit
Yeah.
baby kind of. And at first I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, do, a dear. Oh, you're singing that song, how wonderful. And then he just continued and sing the whole Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti with four.
Wow. Oh,
And I was like, wow, Steven, that's so impressive. Yeah, I was super happy that he could do that.
fun. Well, and having some of his first musical experiences being just, with his own voice and singing and repetition,
Yeah,
that's so great.
yeah. And then sometimes we do the rhythm, and I sing the pitch, and he do the rhythm, that kind of things.
Well, thank you for sharing with us so much today, Tian. And I know you're going to play us a little something. So, do you want to go ahead and introduce what you're going to play for us today?
Sure. I'm going to play the meditation from Taste opera, and it's written by a French composer, Jules Massenet. Yeah.
Thank you, Tian, so much for that performance. Thank you for being our special guest artist today and for sharing with us a little bit more about yourself. We thank you all at home who are tuning in to watch us, and we hope you stay safe and healthy indoors. This has been another episode of Tune In with the CSO, and we hope to see you next time.